Hello, welcome to the Aloonae Show. I'm your host, Aloonae. In this episode, don't have any regulars because reasons, you know. As for our guest, he's from Melbourne, Australia, and he is a CEO. What kind of CEO? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Damian Andrews.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. It's wonderful to be here. Wonderful to be joining you from across the pond or several ponds here in Australia.
Yes, me too. So, how's life?
Life is fabulous. Every day is a fabulous day for me, but that's how I set things up, and pretty easy to do that if you know how.
Hmm, fabulous. And have you been up to much recently?
I've been up to a lot of things. As you mentioned, I'm a CEO. I'm CEO of a couple of different organizations. I manage a consultancy firm which provides um, advice to large corporates mostly as to how to improve their revenue and profit, how to improve their efficiency, create a better culture, especially in today's environment where we have a shortage of labor. They're creating an environment that is good for everybody, for the organization, for the people, creating a culture that people feel respected and satisfaction in what they do is a great way of attracting and keeping good talent. So that's one of the CEO hats I wear. Another one is the CEO of a radio station, which is doing great work, sharing community information and connecting people. So that's a lot of fun to do because again we're helping people feel good. And I also run a private equity fund, which gets great returns. So they're three of the CEO hats that I wear.
Wow, that's a lot of CEOing.
Well, I have a lot of technologies. I mentioned I work with a lot of large corporations and I've developed technologies that help make things more efficient. And I have a program called Max Time, which is it's a misnomer to say time management because time is a constant. It's the same for everyone, and you can't manage time, but you can manage effort. And what I teach, where the people within the organizations, is how to actually manage your effort in a way that gets the most done. Because you've heard, no doubt, and your listeners have heard, work smarter, not harder. But how many times do you see people actually doing that? Most of us the whole mantra out there is you've got to work hard to succeed. But that's not the case. You actually, if you work smarter, as we were also told, you can get a lot done. And the Pareto principle applies here. The 80-20 rule, 20% your results come from 20% of your actions. Well, if you just focused on those 20% and then did that another four times to fill out your day, the other time, you would get so much more done. And following some simple principles makes that happen. That's why I can get so much done and help other people get so much done in their day as well. And not only that, you go to bed each night feeling freaking amazing. It's when you get things done and you look at it in your day and go, wow, I did all that. How cool is that? And you wake up feeling amazing and you have so much more energy.
Nice, very good. In terms
It
of
is.
your, yeah, in terms of your private equity firm, how long have you been running that for?
That's been the actual firm in its current form since the 2020. And for a complete year, for 2021, it returned, and this is cash in the bank, not just equity, but actual cash return. It was 51% return on a growth in equity. And in 2022, the full calendar year was 63%. Currently, we're a little bit down for this year. We're at 28% for the year. But yeah, doing very well with that. Quite happy with that. But again, things that I don't spend a lot of time on that. Money's pretty simple. And if you don't believe me, just listen to Warren Buffett. He lays it out pretty simply as to how to do it if you're into stocks. It's a pretty simple process.
Hmm, nice. And what was life for you in growing up?
Oh, I grew up in a small country town. There was a lot of fun. Wouldn't say, when I look at my history that I had, everything, because I certainly didn't. My background, I'm actually the grandson of war refugees. So my grandparents came out post World War II as war refugees. They had a suitcase, everything that they had. So and they had to make things work, and they did that. And growing up, I grew up in a small country town. My parents, there were some good things. I'm very grateful for some of the things that they taught me. Some really strong values of honesty and thinking about things and not worrying so much about what other people think. Which I hated as a kid. When your mum says you, and this is before beanies were trendy, she used to wear these what I thought were horrible beanies, and I'm like, don't wear that, don't wear that. And and she'd be saying, it doesn't matter what other people think. Do what you think is right. And then as a kid, I said I hated it, but as an adult, it served me very well to do the things that I felt were, were right for me without worrying about what other people felt. And it's created a very good foundation going forward. But yeah, there was other parts of there that my parents, they had what they had. I don't blame them for anything that they had. They did the best they could with what they had. But some of the certainly the relationship skills and things like that, I probably weren't the best, and had a few hard times as a result of the role modeling that all children take from their parents. And but I learnt to deal with things better, and I said now today I live a very very fulfilling life.
Fantastic. And and besides all the other companies and business you just founded, if you were to start a brand new business, what would that be?
Well, outside of that, what I do is I have an organization called Share.care, which, if you want to look it up on the website, it's SHAIR.care. Or if you want to put www in front of that, so Share.care, which is an acronym for Strong, Healthy, and Inspiring Relationships. And the focus of that is it's a global community sharing experience, strength, and hope to create strong, healthy, inspiring relationships. So that's an organization that I have. Well, I started a long time ago, but I've actually started to really to push that and focus on that a lot because it's really important to me. I've learned through my own experiences as to how to have good relationships and how important they are for every aspect of your life, from personal to business. It all comes down to relationships. And so from that perspective, we have, now we have Share.care Radio, which is out there. There's a Share.care podcast, which has been around for over a year now. Um, and it's all about connecting people. And there's so many people that we've joined together to share experiences. And then we're taking that a step further. One of the subsets that we had on Share.care podcast was what is manly, because there is a crisis amongst men out there that's being recognized, that men are feeling more lost, lonely, and not useful in society. So we were trying to understand the framework of what is manly. We had some great conversations on podcasts, if you wanted to listen to them, between both men and women, and it was just so encouraging to see the support out there. And from that, we've now developing, and it'll be launched very soon, the Be Manly program, where we're creating a hub a hub of mentors and role models for boys and men. So, and because there is such a diversity out there. It's not the stereotypical, Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is what manly is. That's not the case. The reality is there's so many different ways of being a man. And so what we wanted to do was create a hub where we could have a whole range of different people from different ways of being manly, that people could look at that and go, oh, I can draw from that. This is who I am, and encourage, again, boys and men to get back out there, because as the women that we've talked to said, the whole point of women's empowerment was not to disempower men, it was to work together, and somehow that's gone wrong, and men are feeling disempowered, and now we're finding a way to bring that back up, so that and so many women are stepping up as to support this as well. They're saying we want our men back. And it's wonderful to see that we can work collaboratively. Because again, if you look at it, the whole polarization, the gender polarization, if we continue that, the species dies out. Men and women are designed to fit together. We certainly become so much more by working together. And that's what the Be Manly program is about.
Fabulous. I love it.
Yeah. It is. It's awesome. There's so many supportive people around the world that are behind this, and by the time I think this podcast goes to air, it'll be live. So if you just search "Be Manly" and the Legends of Humanity, you'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it on Patreon. there's on the share.care website as well.
Nice. If your life was a meal, what kind of meal would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question. I love that. Wow, unique. You've put some thought into that. That's awesome. What if my life was a meal? What would it be? I'm a pretty simple guy, so I'm guessing probably be like a chicken parma or something like that, where it'd be, just that comfort food, whatever your comfort food, maybe a pasta carbonara, some of that. I would say a comfort food because I'm a pretty, from what people tell me, and I think I am, I'm a pretty comfortable guy to be around. I'm pretty relaxing to be around, and one of those things that just makes you feel at home. So I'd be a comfort food, whatever your comfort food of choice is. Whether it's, for me, it's a chicken parma. Wherever I go, I always, either if it's breakfast, I'll have an eggs Benedict because I don't know, for whatever reason, I like that. And for evening, it's a chicken parma.
Mmm, delicious. Would you ever try space tourism?
Space tourism. Whoa, another good question. I like that. What would we? I'd like to. I wonder what a roller coaster would be like in space. Would it have the same effect or not? Um, There'll be some really cool things to see. I'm certain, from the perspective of if we went out into space, we'd get a bigger understanding of what a unique um, planet that we live on. I've had the good fortune of traveling to over 44 different countries. And what I've noticed from that is that although there's different cultures and things like that, fundamentally, people are the same. We all want to enjoy our life. We all want to have good things for our children. We all want to, have fun with our friends. A smile is a smile wherever you go. And for me, I found through that awakening of going, oh, we're all the same. But then I've got friends. One of my business partners, he's Iranian, and I've had so much fun learning about the Persian culture, and we connect a lot on that. And from that, I've become stronger. So from the stronger and more powerful because I've integrated some of those learnings. I've gained more knowledge, I've gained more experience. And I think if we have that tourism in space where you can recognize that, we are one planet, we are, as a people, we are people, and the differences are things that we can learn from that actually make us more powerful. I think that would be really inspiring for people. So, yeah, I'd be up for space tourism.
Fantastic. What is the best way to stay motivated?
That's a really good question. Yeah, that comes down to, and I actually have a leadership program where I teach, again, I mentioned, with big corporates, and I'll give you one of the secrets here. It's really important to stay motivated, is to have a purpose above yourself. Or if you're focusing on yourself and what's in it for me, it isn't really motivating. There isn't a lot of satisfaction in that. But when you do things to help others, when you do things to make the world a better place, when your purpose is wherever you go, you leave it that little bit better. All of a sudden, you become tremendously motivated because I don't know what the biology is, but whatever it is, when you help other people, it releases dopamine, it releases serotonin in your body, and there's some oxytocin in there as well. Now, obviously, you're using drugs. Be mindful of that. They're good drugs, but you're using drugs, and what that does is makes you. Makes you feel really good, and because you've got that running through your body, you actually become really, really motivated. And my day is like that. I last night I went to an event where we are helping local businesses in a regional area. I had to drive 2 hours to get there, drove home, did some stuff. Then I got up this morning, and I was up early on interviewing someone on a podcast. I had another meeting with someone else in the regional, so I went to a cafe and we had some breakfast and had a meeting. And then I've come back and been part of another meeting with a group of guys, helping them. And it's just tremendous motivation when you actually help people, because you actually are using drugs in your favor, the natural drugs that your body produces. It's the giver's high. And I have a friend in Texas who used to be a heavy drug user, and he's in the space where he's helping a lot of people. And his example was, he said, the giver's high is so much better, so much intense than any drug I ever had, and I don't ever get a downer from it. And that's how to stay motivated. Make it bigger than yourself, helping other people. When you do that, all of a sudden you have tremendous motivation.
Fabulous. Would you rather never age physically or never age mentally?
Well, that's a trick question, because if you never age physically, your brain's not going to age, and therefore you won't age mentally. So I'll take the not aging physically. I'm a contract person.
Okay, cool, cool. What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. Um, my favorite quote is, "The secret to happiness is to be happy." And I don't know if you'll find an author for that. I've found some variants of that. And to fully understand that, you probably, I mean, people are looking for happiness and where to find happiness. But when you understand how your biology works, um, you think a happy thought, and your body automatically starts producing dopamine and serotonin. And if you go back in time, in America, and I'm Australian, but I'll give credit to the Americans for doing this. There's a guy called Walt Disney who created the first feature length animated movie. And in that movie, Snow White, while Snow White and the animals are cleaning the house, they're singing Whistle While You Work. And I know they didn't understand, how dopamine and that worked back then, but they understood the philosophy. And similar thing, taking another pop culture reference, in Mary Poppins, she says, "In every job that must be done, there's an element of fun. Find the fun, and the job's a game." And that's so this searching for happiness, how to be happy. A lot of people do that, but the reality is it's the opposite. Just be happy. And that's where that quote comes from. It's something that I modified a little bit from a Wayne Dyer episode where he goes, at the end of the day, the road to happiness is there. He said there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. And that was my take on it, was to say, the secret to happiness is to be happy.
Fantastic. If you have to lose one of your senses, which one would you choose to lose?
Oh, you make the questions really difficult. You put that in that scarcity mentality. Um, if I had to lose one of my senses, this is like Sophie's choice, isn't it? You've got to choose. What would I choose? Um, I'm gonna have to take a pass on that one, because I don't think I can choose. So
Fair enough.
I'm
What's your
kind of like Captain Kirk. I don't believe there is a no-win situation. Maybe I've watched too much Star Trek.
okay, that's cool. What's your favorite kind of dessert?
Oh, good question again. Favorite kind of popped into my head as you were saying that was sticky date pudding with some vanilla ice cream. Very traditional, very again comfort type food. But you've got to be careful. Too much of that can really, not be great for you. But yeah, I'll go with the sticky date pudding.
Okay, sounds good. Where is the most relaxing place you have been to?
Most relaxing place. I have three places in the world that are my favorite places in the world. Relaxing is a that's a state of mind. So it doesn't really matter where you are. For me, for example, at the beach house, I have a very large lawn, and I used to have a gardener that did that. And then I got rid of the gardener, bought myself a self-propelled lawnmower. So I have to. It's not ride on; you walk behind it, but it's one of those electric ones that drive itself. Um, and I'll go out there and do what I call gumping. I'm Forrest Gump, going up and down the lawn, mowing my lawn, and I find that really really relaxing. But as far as favorite places to be, certainly in Melbourne. Melbourne's rated the most livable city, and certainly Melbourne and a regional area that I grew up in. I find them very relaxing. And two other places that I love in the world is Port Douglas in Queensland and St. Moritz in Switzerland. They're my three favorite, or maybe four favorite places in the world.
Sweet.
If you ever go to St. Moritz, go and China. They make the best cheeseburger ever. It's awesome, and every time I go there, I'm thinking it can't be that good. My memory's fading, but yeah, it is. It's awesome.
Oh yes, it's I actually want to try it now. It's sounds good.
They're amazing.
Oh yes. Would you rather never use social media again or never watch another movie or television show again?
Oh, good question. This comes down to, again, from my perspective, I've done this. I think it's been about 8 years now. My phone and my computer and everything lives on silent, so I don't. If my phone rings or I get a text message or if there's any social media connections, it doesn't beep. I don't know about it unless I look at my phone. And same with, even to the extent on my computer, when you have emails, normally you can see how many unread emails you had in the little thing. That's turned off. So I don't have any of that turned off. And that's partly, as I mentioned before, about effort management. I'm in control of my time, I'm not reactive to what's going on around me. And that gives a tremendous amount of power. And same token from a TV perspective, house we don't have free to air TV anymore because I don't like ads. We noticed when we first did that many years ago, we switched that off. All of a sudden, the children who were much younger then actually stopped asking for McDonald's, which was a really interesting observation. So from my perspective, I don't know if I'd go without one, but I'm in control of how that is used because it's I'm in charge of my life. I'm not subservient to it. So that would be my thing: is not to be subservient to social media or TV, but actually be in control of it.
Fantastic. What is the best way to start the morning?
Wake up. My mornings start certainly, yes, by waking up. But I've also had a plan. So before I've gone to bed, um, and it's not necessarily every day, but I have a bigger global plan that I have, and I draw this from my exceptional effort program that I teach large corporates, but it's for individuals to use in their life. And I have a bigger plan that I'm working towards, a mission, then things that I want to achieve. And I mentioned it before about giving back, so that's linked to that. So when I wake up, before I go to bed, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the next day that's within that plan. And then when I wake up, normally, more often than not, I don't have an alarm set because I don't need to. I wake up just by habit. But even when I do have an alarm set, my wake up is focused on where I'm going and what I want to achieve, which is really motivating. So I wake up, and if alarm goes off, I know I've got to do this, and I will just jump out of bed and move forward to that because I want to get out of bed. I want to create a difference in the world, and having that, again, having something that's bigger than yourself gives you that motivation just to get up and get on with the day, and do amazing things and feel good about your day.
Yeah, I agree. Would you rather be really hot or really cold?
Oh, good question. There's one thing I struggled with a lot, from that perspective because I mean I love snow skiing. Mentioned Switzerland, and skiing there is wonderful, but also skiing in Australia as well. And I enjoyed the cold. I didn't like the hot. Um, I didn't like that muggy, sticky feeling. I don't think I liked being muggy and sticky, and it made it for me. It made it difficult to do things. But then, when I discovered Port Douglas, which is in a tropical zone, it's in the far, what we call FNQ, far north Queensland. So it's in a tropical zone where it is mostly hot and sticky. Uh, but I don't know. I found something there that I enjoyed, and I found a way of still getting things done the way I wanted to do that in a way that didn't bother me so much. So as far as the hot and sticky was concerned, So it became a balance between I like my time in the snow, I like my time in the warm weather, and it is a balance. But if I was to choose one, it'd probably be more towards the cooler because it's a little bit more productive. But I said I balanced it out and worked how to work within the hot weather as well.
All right then. Would you rather be able to breathe underwater or have the agility of a cat?
The nine lives component, or always landing on your feet.
Well, if it works, it works.
So you're giving me the choice of being Aquaman with tattoos and a drinking problem, or I'm going to frame it that way, or being able, or I've got nine lives, but I will and I'll always land on my feet. I'd probably go with the cat because nine lives is better than one life, and always landing on your feet is a pretty good way to do that. Aquaman, seems like a bit of a troubled individual, and as much as he does some good things in the world, yeah, he just seems like a bit of a troubled man that's got some issues to sort through still.
Fair enough. I can see that. How much time do you spend on the internet?
Ooh, good question. I've never actually worked that out, but a lot of the work I do is doing a bit of research. Certainly, I spend probably a couple of hours a day having meetings online with people around the world. So it'd be a fair bit of time, but I've never actually worked that out. But certainly, because of research, and that's where that information is, and also in connecting with people via meetings, it's a fair bit of time.
Hmm. All right then. If you could turn any activity into an Olympic sport, what would you have a good chance of winning a medal for?
Oh, I love that. That's a good question. Any activity into Olympic sport. Um, Being pig-headed and stubborn would probably be up there. So if I could turn that into a sport, because I can be very, very tenacious in chasing after what I. So yeah, pig-headedness and stubbornness. Can you get a gold medal for that? I'd like to try.
Yeah, it seems plausible. Would you consider yourself to be an extrovert or an introvert?
Oh, another good question. Um, It depends on where it was in life. I think I'm a balance between both. I certainly like my time alone with my thoughts and thinking things through. But same token too, I do like getting out and connecting with people from the perspective of it's nice to be able to find out what's going on and how I can help them. But I probably lean more towards the introvert part, which you wouldn't think of when you know me, or see what I do because I'm constantly interacting with people and speaking with people, and I'm very confident speaking in public. But from what I've learned, that actually most of the best public speakers and the people out there doing that are actually introverts, but they've just learnt how to do that as an extrovert. So I'd say I'm more on the introvert side of things, although it wouldn't seem it if you were to look at me.
That's interesting. What I would say, I think extrovertedly, but I behave introvertedly. So it's like half and half for me, but mostly
Hmm.
introvert for me. But there are times I do go out and become more extrovert than I am introvert. So yeah, it goes back and forth for me.
Yeah, is it a balance between both? Is what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that quiet time is really good to reflect and learn and grow as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you, Damien, talking about, well, a lot of other things. As a CEO, it's been fabulous.
thank you very much for having me on the show. You had some really, really wonderful questions. They were out of the box, and I love that. It was wonderful to be part of that and be able to share with you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.